Welcome to this week's video. This week I've got a Switch OLED that's not charging, so the condition's pretty good, so I'm quite happy with that. Picked it up locally for £60, which doesn't seem too bad. So everything seems to be working fine, it's just when you put the charger in, it's only showing up as 5 volts and 0 amps, so there is no charge on it. And if you turn it over, it's also the same on both sides of the charge port. So straight up I think it's a faulty charging port. So we need to take it apart, a few screws out, and then we'll clip the back off. And a few more screws on the back plate. To remove the rear heat shield, disconnect the 2 cables, and then the heat shield will lift away. So a quick look at the USB port, and to be fair, it doesn't look too damaged, it looks okay. So it has had a port change, as you can see it's a little bit melted. The pins all do look solid, but I'm still going to go for a swap. Remove all the screws, so take the board out. Have a quick examination on the back. I'm just checking the filters for continuity on each side. So each side beeps, which means they work fine. I then connect the breakout board to check the readings from each pin. So the readings that I'm getting from what I've read seem pretty much correct. There doesn't seem to be any wrong open lines or any that appear too high or too low. But I'm still convinced it's a faulty USB port, so apply a little bit of flux and then hot air from the top. I'm going to take the port off. Temperature of 440. It only takes a couple of minutes to remove. A little bit more flux and then some solder wick and a hot iron to clean out the port legs and the old solder. And then a quick clean of isopropyl. And then apply some fresh solder. And then another quick clean. And then we'll get the USB-C port prep. So a bit of flux and then solder on the legs to make sure it's nice and easier to connect. Fresh solder on the pads. Hot air, keep moving it around till you see the solder melt. Then place the port. And then carefully line it up. Keep moving it. I left it on a little bit too long, so I have melted a little bit, so not great. It should be fine though, so remove the hot air, keep holding for a couple of seconds till the solder goes solid. Then flip it over. We need to solder the port legs to make sure that it doesn't move. Apply plenty of solder here. And another good clean of isopropyl alcohol. So I plugged it in and I still got the same reading. So I did what I should have done from the start. I got my multimeter out. And first up I started with checking the fuse. And then straight away it's showing that I'm not getting a beep. There should be a continuous beep when connected on both sides to show continuity going through. So I'll get a donor switchboard and check the fuse on this. And then when you connect either side you should get a beep. So I'll get my hot air to remove the old fuse. And then get the hot air again, remove the new working fuse. And then place it back on to the OLED board. Add a little bit more flux and then a bit more hot air just to make sure it's all lined up and secure. Another quick clean. And then when you check either side you should be getting a beep. It's hard to hear but it does beep. So plug it back in. Plug the amp meter back in. and straight away it shows 15 volts and the correct amperage, and then it turns off and on, which means that the console's trying to boot. Flip it over, and it's also working on this side too. Put the board back in, connect everything that needs to be connected, we'll turn it on and then see if we get a working switch. It still turns on, which is a good sign. We start it all up, we make the connection, and now we've got a charge symbol in the corner and it's charging away. Now we can put back together, so the heat shield back on, apply any thermal paste if it needs reapplying, back cover back on, all the screws back in, and then that's it. We've got a nice fully working Switch OLED for £60. So it just goes to show you need to be checking the basics before you just jump straight in and assume that you already know what the problem is. If I checked the fuse straight away, it'd have been a really easy quick fix. Thanks very much for watching, please like, comment and subscribe.